I think something happened with my stream before. Sorry, everybody that tried to join me and they weren't able to join. Um, Letting somebody know I'm back on. Um, yeah. So sorry, everybody that I wasn't able to connect with. Hopefully, some people hop back on. If they don't, it's fine. I mean, really, like this is my first live stream, so I'm gonna have to get the kinks out eventually. Um, so thank you for everybody for participating and for listening. I recognize that this is my first time streaming, so I still gotta get the kinks out a little bit, but yeah, hopefully people people get a little bit something out of some of the things that I've been talking about and what I've been saying. Um, yeah, thank you for everybody that's been listening, and yeah, so there's other things that I kind of wanted to touch on a little bit is some of the topics like miracles, for example, right? I think a lot of the times people take miracles in their life for granted. They don't realize that they might have been gifted miracles in their life from God and they don't even recognize it as such. And I think that a lot of the times people think of things as coincidence, right? So I think that I kind of mock the whole concept of a coincidence, and it's like, what are you, a coincidence theorist? Because it's like, man, like really, if you live in the spirit, nothing's a coincidence. I mean, everything happens for a reason. Like there's God's like divine plan, and if like people talk about like free will and determination, right? Is it free will or determination? I think it's both. It's like, yeah, you have free will, but it's also determined. So it's like the perfect the perfect pool game where you know all the balls, God's going to know, hey, this ball's going in that hole, this ball's going that hole. It's like the best pool game of all time. But God already knows where all the balls are going to go. So just look at those, like that ball metaphor at the pool table with how life is. And that's what life's all about, right? It's he's able to dictate, oh, Mike is going to do his live stream, and then da 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 boom boom boom. Next thing you know, he's going to influence this person. That person's going to talk to their grandma, and that grandma's going to talk to her friend, and she's going to tell. And that's just like the way that this life plays out. And so I think it's like a mix of determinism and free will at the exact same time. Like, yeah, you have the free will, but also God's kind of leading you the way the whole time. And yeah, I think that when you kind of acknowledge that, you're like, man, um, you get gifted miracles when you're doing the things that you're supposed to be doing, right? Even if you don't deserve it, God's such a loving God that He's going to be able to do that for you because He loves you, right? And He wants the best for you. But you have to consider this, that if you're always turning your back to God, you're always saying, oh, I'm a special boy, I'm gonna do what I want to do, I don't want to listen to you, I want to go my own way. And then you kind of mock people and you think you're the shit and you're always sinning, pardon my language. Eventually He's going to give you the pow pow. Just like, I mean, if you look at God like a father, imagine if my son or my daughter is always doing the thing that I'm telling her not to do or him not to do. I'm gonna eventually put my foot down and say, "Yo, this is how it needs to be. You're off right now. This is not the way to do it." And then you have to kind of reprimand. And it's like it's tough. Do do I love reprimanding my kid? No, like I don't think any parent does, right? But it's like that's what you have to do. And then it's kind of a funny thing if you really think about it, that like who has a kid and wants their kid to struggle? Who has a kid and says, "Man, you know what? I want my kid to have less things than everybody in the class. I want them to be like really struggling versus everybody in their class. No parent's gonna say that. But the funny thing is that through struggle, you become a better person. So like that's like the funny like juxtaposition in life, right? It's like God sometimes sets you back so that you could actually be set forward and be a better person. And like people like that's like the such like a hard red pill because it's like a lot of people are like, man, they spoil their kids or they're doing this and that. And it's like, yeah, bro, of course you're gonna spoil your kid. You give them everything they want, you give them everything they need. Uh, you really shower them with love and abundance and joy. But then like that same catch 22, what happens? They become a spoiled brat, you know? It's like, but a lot of parents don't think that, especially like parents that are my age. They're not like, oh man, let me not give my kid all these things because I don't want them to be a spoiled brat, you know? Like spoiled brat was something my mom used to tell me all the time. Oh, you're gonna be a spoiled brat. But she had like a lot of like spiritual wisdom. But yeah, it's kind of funny that in a weird way, it's like you don't want your kid to you don't want your kid to struggle, but sometimes struggling is like the best thing for them in like a weird like paradoxical way. Um yeah, another topic I have here is science and faith. So like I think like a lot of the times we think of like religion or God as anti-science. At least that's the way that like society has like at least that's the way that society has like kind of dictated the like our lives. They're like, look, you're either like a religious nut or you're somebody that really like, respects science. They don't really like leave a middle ground. And what's funny is that if you like do enough research, you'll start realizing that all the top uh, astrophysicists, surgeons, I mean, you name it, when they go like deep, 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 they find God. They realize it. They're like, man, none of this could happen without a designer. And I feel like that's like a big red pill. And even for me, as a graphic designer, like that was something that was like really obvious to me. I was like, man, like you cannot um you cannot acknowledge the way things are, like this universe without God. Like there has to be a creator. There's no other way. Um like for example, when you get into phi, like the Fibonacci sequence, it's 1.618, right? That's like the mathematical formula of a lot of things in this world. And you'll see that getting dictated and played over and over and over again. 1.618. And what's funny is that that's um that's really God's design. What you're like diving deep into like the granular details of God's design. And it's like, okay, so if there's like the same commonalities everywhere, then you have to realize, hey, this is actually God's design. And I remember seeing something online about like DNA and how if you go really really deep into people's DNA, that they're able to see through the DNA that uh, if you go really deep into the DNA, that you actually see Yahweh. Yahweh is encoded in everybody's DNA. So God is literally inside of all of us, literally and figuratively, and spiritually, and whatever adjective or adverb, every single which way. God's in us, through like in our cells, like microcosm, you know. And I think that that's like pretty wild and pretty profound. I think a lot of people um, don't even really realize that because listen, if you're just moving about the day, moving about the times, right? You go out, you meet up with your buddies, you're doing this and that, you're just moving about in the world. You're not gonna like walk around with this like profundity of like, wow, like this is all God's great design. This is crazy. No, like, it's so easy just to sleepwalk, especially if you're drinking alcohol and doing all those things. Not to mention, alcohol, there's a reason why they call it spirits, right? So it's like you're operating with a different spirit what's inside of you. Which I think is like, very obvious. Um, and yeah, so I think that like with science and faith, like even though we are like programmed to think that science and faith can't coexist, really when you go deepest to the levels, the best scientists find their faith through science because there's no other way. The intelligent design is so profound that you have to have blinders on. Like you already have to have like a preconceived worldview where you ignore that, you know. But if you're open and you're like, man, like, you know what, whatever information I get, I'm just gonna run with it. You realize, oh crap, God's real, because his design, like there's an actual designer, and it's just obvious. So yeah, another topic that I get into is uh the secrets of like religious art, right? Like with like the symbolism, right? Like I've talked about this in one of my previous videos. There's a reason why they're always demonstrating and painting Jesus pointing to his heart and pointing upwards. And what he's doing is he's saying, "Hey, lead with your heart," and that's the ultimate way of connecting, of connecting with other people, connecting with God, the Creator. Excuse me. Go with the heart and go upwards. He's not saying, "Hey, use your mind and overthink things and use head knowledge." He's saying, "No, use your heart knowledge. Like use the Holy Spirit. Connect that way, right? Don't connect with just BS, because I think a lot of the times, a lot of people, it's easy for them to just focus on their head knowledge, right? Especially that nowadays we all think we're special, right? I'm a special boy, I'm a special girl. I know so many things. I have a degree, I have this and that. These are my accolades. I'm such a smart person. And it's like, really, you're not that smart. You think you are, but you're really not. So I think that one way to be smart is actually like operating with like the proper spirit. So yeah, I think that it's like obvious. I'm gonna try Instagram Live again and see if the sound. Uh, let's see if the sound. If I don't have that issue again. Um, yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot. But what up, IG Live? I'm on my YouTube channel and I'm just streaming here on Instagram. What up? What up, Jimbo? Go on my YouTube page, boy. Um, yeah, so I think that it's interesting that the idea of science and faith, and that I think that a lot of people, they're programmed to think about science not being able to go hand in hand with faith, but in reality, like the best scientists, once they dive deep into the details, they realize, oh, there is a designer. So it just becomes more and more obvious the more you look into it, right? Like phi 1.618, right? It's obvious that there's a mathematical formula for everything in our universe, in the world, and that just didn't happen through the Big Bang, right? Like, I mean, it's just like, hey, just try to throw something in your room, and then everything is exactly proportioned by the same mathematical principles. That's just like not how just that's not how chaos doesn't work like that. Everything is designed in a particular way. Um, so yeah, so that's kind of like a little bit of faith and science, and then what else do I have here for you guys to talk about? Um, oh yeah, so I'll talk about extraterrestrials, right? I think so that's what somebody else was asking me about. So I think it's just a different I think people put different names to different things, right? So people call it demons, people call it extraterrestrials, ETs or whatever. Because really what's happening in a lot of these when they have an encounter, right? What's happening? They're being taken, they're in their sleep, they're being taken away, there's something really bad is happening to them in the middle of the night. It's like, okay, well, is that some sort of like, you know, a demonic possession? Is that some, like, is that something that's spiritual, right? It's less of an actual entity, right? Like a green little alien, and more of like a spiritual force that's attacking you, you know. So I think that people don't really like conceive that really like I mean, and there's this guy Stephen Greer. He does a whatever it's called, CE5 or something, and basically he like meditates in the middle of the desert, and then he channels like UFOs and stuff. Well, what do all these new age people do? They channel spirits and they meditate and they do all the same thing. Like there's a Ecclesiastes scripture. There's nothing new under the sun, right? And really, truly, there is nothing new under the sun. People will put different labels and different names on different stuff, but it's like, okay, cool. Like, you don't like religion talk, you don't like talking about demons, you like talking about aliens, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, yeah, we're talking about the same things, but you just want to use different language. Like, that's fine. You know what I mean? So I mean, yeah, that's pretty much like what I view, like, the whole like extraterrestrial thing. And just to drop like another like, red pill or like, uh oh, it's knowledge. Oh, I'm upside down. I can't hear. Yeah, because okay, my wife. My wife says I'm upside down on Instagram Live. Yeah, because when I do it the other way, people can't hear me. Okay, fine. I'll just get rid of live then. I don't even like Instagram. Um, I need to figure out a way to do Instagram Live where people can hear me. Because when I put my phone down, the microphone's on the bottom. So what am I supposed to be doing? Like holding my phone up the whole time? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I mean, tell Instagram. I mean, I was gonna say tell her Instagram people to go on my YouTube. She's not in control of my Instagram. Obviously, I need to get a team. I need to get a whole team working for me. I think that's very obvious. What else? Well, hey, listen, in life, you gotta do things. The more you do things, the more you open up new doors and new possibilities. So hopefully that's what I'm doing right now, opening up doors of possibilities. What else? What else do I have here? So I got 12 minutes left. No one's on my stream, but I'm gonna try to continue writing because it's kind of cool practice. So what else do I got? The mystery of religious relics. Yeah, listen, the religious relics are really interesting, like the Shroud of Turin. Um, I don't know the like the truth of the Shroud of Turin, like how much like that is true. I mean, I remember seeing a video on it and I was like pretty blown away. But sometimes like I don't know, I put my skeptic hat on with some things like that. But I mean, if it is true, then I believe it. I mean, as simple as that. I'd have to look more into it. The Ark of the Covenant, though, I mean, that's 100% true. Within the Old Testament, that's what they used to worship God, and God even gave them like the special sauce, the formula, the ingredients to create that, create the box. And what's crazy is that when Christ died, the Ark of the Covenant was underneath that mountain. And when Christ, when he was on the cross and he got hit with the spear in his heart and blood and water started shooting out, it actually landed on the Ark of the Covenant. And that was like significant. I mean, that was significant in a lot of ways. But in one way, it was like us going from the old to the new, BC to AD, right? That was like the end of the old covenant, the beginning of the new covenant. Um, yeah, I mean, it's really crazy that that blood on the Ark of the Covenant was living blood, meaning that it wasn't like, you know, if I cut myself shaving or whatever, that there would be dried blood on me. That was new blood that stayed new for like, I don't know, for like a super long time. Apparently, this guy Ron Wyatt, he was actually called by God to go to the Ark of the Covenant and to like seek it out and discover it. And in doing so, he was able to discover the blood on it, and he had the blood examined, and that blood was actually it only had, I forgot what the number of chromosomes or whatever, but it only had the certain amount of chromosomes where it was with no father. So I guess what, 23 or 24 or whatever, because it's like 23, 23. It's like 46 or something. So I don't know. I think it was only 23 or 24 on it. So basically, it was like, hey, this blood had no father, because basically the only father was actually from God. So it like kind of confirmed that Christ was actually like truly God's son, which is pretty wild, pretty nutty if you really think about it. Um, yeah, I think, you know, what's funny is that one of the topics that I have here is environmental stewardship. Discuss how faith-based contribute to sustainable practice and addresses climate change. Listen, like, I think we should all do our part to be like better people and to like be better stewards of the world and help out and whatnot. But at the same time, what I'll say to that is I think a lot of that climate change stuff is a psyop. You know, I don't think that's really real. You know, I think that, listen, it's yes, and yes, it's real, but it's being manufactured by, you know, the powers that be or whoever it may be. So I think that you know, it's interesting for us to think about of you know, the you know, we have to keep in mind that even though the powers that be are doing what they're doing, God still reigns supreme. You know, so it's like at the end of the day, we can't really worry about all the crap, you know, because there's so much crap being thrown at us. It's like it gets overwhelming, you know. But like that's also like part of the plan. Is like they're like stealing like your spiritual energy as well. So it's like, yeah, they're taking advantage of us, and yeah, they're messing up things, and you have to really like be open that it's like, yeah, like that is happening. But so what? You know, like what could I do? It's like we are so powerful. We are more powerful than they want us to know about, you know? It's just that they use fear and they use all kinds of things to control us, you know? But it's like, man, you don't need to be controlled. You know, you could just do whatever you want. You know, at the end of the day, it's like, bro, like when you move in this way and this walk, like you don't give a crap what people say or think, you know? But I certainly don't, you know? I mean, it's what do I have to look cool for? You know, like I don't try to demonstrate myself to be cool. You know, like I really don't. It's just, you know, I'm just my guy. I'm just who I am all the time. And if you like it, great. If you don't like it, great. But it's like Kanye West said something. He's like, "Oh, I do my things for an audience of one, you know? So it's like I really resonate with that because I don't care about Albert, about Barry or Brittany, Carl, Daniel, you know, Emily, you know, I did ABCE, ABCDE. I don't care about what anybody says, really. I mean, I already have a wife, I already have family and stuff. So to me, it's like, what do I care what a stranger thinks of me? I'm not trying to be Mr. Cool Guy. I'm not trying to be like good looking. It's so cool. It's so awesome, and this and that. It's like, bro, whatever, bro. Like, who cares? Like, I don't care. You know, it's just like it's funnier that way. It's just life becomes funner that way. You know, it's like, dude, if I just do things for God, God's gonna make my life more supernatural. And I'd rather live a life of a supernatural experience where like I'm communing with God and I'm doing the right things and everything is cool than like giving a crap about what people think about me, you know? Because the thing is that when you care about what people think, you become their prisoner, you know? And like I don't want to be a prisoner to other people. I really don't. I don't care about what people think. And as a result, I just, hey, I care what God thinks. And then all of a sudden, it's like I'm able to be a steward for God instead of like, you know, being somebody where I'm scared about what people think, you know? Um, yeah. So I think that that's something like really interesting and profound to consider and think about. I mean, for myself or for other people. Um, one thing I want to talk about really quick, I only have a couple more minutes here, is the power of faith in times of adversity. You know, I think that I think that adversity really helps build us. And even like in the story of Job, you know, he had a lot of problems and a lot of suffering in his life, and that helped him, you know, kind of understand God a little bit better. And I feel like we all go through different seasons of good and bad, and that helps us in life with whatever we're going through, you know? So, you know, one thing I was talking to my brother about is that, hey, in life, it's like when you fail, that's when you learn. If you're winning, you don't learn anything. So it's like you don't want to win all the time because you're never learning, you know. But it's like you don't want to lose all the time because then you're just going to be like feeling terrible. Not to mention, it's like if you're learning, eventually you're going to win. So if you're just losing all the time, that means are you not learning? Are you not putting it into practice? Are you not executing? What is it? You know. So it's something to kind of really consider. Um, about how adversity really like makes us really like reforms us and helps us. Like God's like the ultimate like alchemist of just turning our lead into gold, or just getting rid of the lead and just using all the better parts of us, and then boom, you just become a golden version of yourself. What's funny is that a year ago I even got an email about it. I created a website called the Golden Age Show. And my whole thing was I wanted to create a podcast called The Golden Age. And it was a kind of similar about like faith stuff and whatnot. I wasn't as close to my faith, but I had like a vision for it. And it's like, lo and behold, I'm making faith based now. And that's like the faith based color is gold. So even though it's like not homaging the golden age or whatever it might be, like it's still like along like the same lines, you know, which is pretty funny how kaleidoscopic this world and universe is, that eventually it's like, bro, like whether I did it last year, I did it this year, I'll do it, you know, sooner than later. It's just gonna happen. Things are gonna be popping. um so what else do I have here, guys? Miracles and coincidences. Yeah, I talked about that before. Listen, I'm never a kind of person where I say, "Hey, things are coincidence." You know, I don't believe in that. I view it as a miracle or whatever it is. Like in life, it's like if you're moving in the spirit, it's God's hand in play. It's not just a coincidence. But I tell people, it's like, bro, what are you, a coincidence theorist? You know what I mean? Like, you really have to like consider that in life it's like more than just that. So God's hands always in play. But anyways, I think I was gonna make this at till 10, so I'm gonna wrap up here. Thank you guys for joining in. It looks like I missed out most people when my stream started again. I don't think everybody joined back on, which is fine. But thank you to people for watching the other previous version. If people come back and watch this, hope you enjoy it. Make sure you shop faithandbase.com. Go to my website, get this hat. Well, actually, this is a different hat, but shop my hats. I got 2 shirts on deck. I got other gear coming out. So make sure you tune in on my website, cop some of the stuff, show your support, link, subscribe, share, comment, tell your friends. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you and take care. Peace.